This year, NFL referees did a relatively good job of staying out of the news cycle. I know there were certain weeks that all we heard about was the poor officiating in some of these games, but that noise was much louder last year. In fact, it got loudest at the very end of the year, following the Super Bowl. This video isn't necessarily about the job that the referees did this season, but more about the rules that they're asked to enforce. First things first, please be sure to hit that subscribe button for more content and to help the channel grow. We're coming up on 600 subscribers, and I couldn't be more grateful to each and every one of you that's already subscribed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love making NFL content, so thank you to every single one of you. The first rule that probably needs to change this offseason is the fumble out of the end zone being a turnover. Personally, I actually like this rule, but it doesn't make a lot of logical sense, especially when you consider the rule for the rest of the field. The rule right now is that if a ball is fumbled in the field of play and goes forward into the opponent's end zone and over the end line or sideline, a touchback is awarded to the defensive team. In other words, if the offense fumbles the ball out of the end zone, the defense gets the ball at the 20. I think they should change this rule to be consistent with the rest of the field. Personally, I actually think the defense should get the ball if it's fumbled out of bounds anywhere as a punishment to the offense for being careless with the football. I'm also fine with players being allowed to swat the ball out of bounds. I think it would make the game pretty entertaining to have players fighting each other for who gets to swat the ball out and how hard they're going to try and swat it. Right now, players are not allowed to deliberately swat the ball out of bounds. The NFL needs to get away from the intention of the players. It's kind of arbitrary to say you know what someone's intent was.
And I gotta just catch the ball next time instead of illegally batting it.
The next rule that needs to change is overtime. Right now in the NFL, during the regular season, if the first team to possess the ball scores a touchdown, the game is over. Honestly, college overtime rules are much better. In college, both teams get a chance to possess the football regardless of what happens. And if both teams score on their first possession in overtime, on the second possession, if they score a touchdown, they have to go for two. If the game remains tied after each team has possessed the ball twice, then they begin exchanging 2-point conversions until a winner is determined. Personally, I think it would be a little more fun to exchange field goals after the second possession. Maybe each team starts at a 25-yard attempt and then moves back 5 yards until one of the kickers miss. If both kickers miss from a certain distance, then you could keep it right where it's at and they can both try again. Maybe if it gets to be too far and they're both missing, then you start walking the ball in 1 yard at a time until you have a winner. But that's just my thought on how to improve overtime. Regardless, both teams should get a chance to possess the football in overtime. It's the only way to make it fair. The NFL should eliminate kickoffs altogether. Every season, the NFL makes more and more kickoff rules that are kind of goofy since they want to avoid injuries. This year, the rule that was introduced was that you can fair catch from anywhere behind the 25 and get the ball at the 25. Instead, I think that there shouldn't be a kickoff. Each team should just start with the ball on the 25. I know. What about the onside kick? To be honest, the XFL fixed that issue last year. Instead of an onside kick, teams had the option to go for a 4th and 15 from their 25-yard line. Personally, I think it should be a 4th and 20 since NFL players should be better than semi-pro players. Regardless, onside kicks are super boring to watch because we all know the outcome coming into the play. There was only 1 out of 31 onside kicks recovered in 2023. Even if the 4th and 20 is just as unlikely to convert, at least it's a much more entertaining play to watch. And the last rule that needs to change, or at least be enforced differently, is intentional grounding. This year, both Geno Smith and Josh Allen took terrible intentional grounding calls. Now, it's important to remember why intentional grounding is a rule in the first place. It exists so that the quarterback can't just spike the ball or launch it to nowhere to get out of a sack, because sacks pretty much wouldn't exist if the quarterback could just slam the ball onto the ground instead of taking a sack. Currently in the NFL, it is a foul for intentional grounding if a passer facing an imminent loss of yardage because of pressure from the defense throws a forward pass without a realistic chance of completion. A realistic chance of completion is defined as a pass that is thrown in the direction of and lands in the vicinity of an originally eligible receiver. In both the Geno Smith call and the Josh Allen call, the quarterback was in the pocket and the ball was thrown to an area without an eligible receiver. But also in both cases, the quarterback wasn't facing an imminent loss based on pressure from the defense. Both cases appear to clearly be miscommunication between the quarterback and receiver. So by the spirit of the law, neither penalty should have been called. And in fact, by the letter of the law, neither penalty should have been called because neither quarterback was facing an imminent loss of yardage because of pressure from the defense. I'm not sure if the solution is for the rule to be reworded or if refs just need to be more aware of what the actual verbiage of the rule is. Either way, making the penalty reviewable would solve that, as New York would have the opportunity to look for all of the elements of the penalty. Now, I get that a lot of people are concerned about making too many things reviewable slows the game down, but it's not like intentional grounding is called all that often anyways, but when it is called, it's a huge penalty. But those are the rule changes that I would like to see this offseason. Feel free to comment what any rule changes that you'd like to see, or if you agree or disagree with any of my rule changes. I don't anticipate the league is actually going to change very many rules. And if you recognize who Roger Goodell is posing with in the thumbnail to this video, you're a pervert, and I respect you for it. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more content. And if you really like the content, hit that notification bell so that every time I upload a video, YouTube will notify you. Thanks for watching and have a very best day.